Hi, this is choosing a template for Family Tree Maker 2014 or Family Tree Maker for the Mac version 3 and previous versions, but I'm going to be using 2014.1 for this demonstration. So this time I'm going to use a record uh, from Ancestry.com. The record group is Maryland marriages, 1634 to 1777. And we're going to choose a template and craft a citation. Craft is the correct term because it's not scientific. And having looked at this one more than once, I may change it again, but this is my current thinking on how this citation should look. So this is the record. Now, you can't read it on the screen, I'm sure, but not to worry. I'm going to break this screen apart. This is what I get when I followed a hint and found this marriage record. The marriage record is for Priscilla, and that's her name that is presented to us. And under that is the database title from Ancestry.com. Under that is on the left is an image of the record. So that's telling me that this record is an image, and I need to view it later before I determine that this is my person. But it's there. Just click on view and I can get to it. And on the right is the transcription, what Ancestry thinks is in that record. What I find very peculiar is where it says Marriage County Society of Friends. I wonder what that means. Well, actually, we'll find out here in a minute, but that's what is on that part of the screen. The image is on the left and the transcription is on the right. Now, below that is the information that I've shared before. Oops, I went right by that. Didn't mean to do that. There's 3 sections in this one that has source information, the original data, and the description. Now, what that tells me is that Ancestry created the database from someone else's work. And so we have to deal with that when crafting a citation. So let me break that apart a little bit so you can read it on the screen. Those screen captures were from Ancestry, so you could see what I was looking at. The source information just says that the Ancestry.com and the database title. And then the next term in there says database online. I find that very misleading, but I find it very consistent that it's misleading because there was an image. We saw an image, but it says database online. And the publisher location is what that next bit of information is. And the publisher was Ancestry.com Operations, and it was done in 2012. So that's what Ancestry has told us, the source information. But the original data came from a book written by Robert Barnes with the same title, and it was published in Baltimore, Maryland by the Genealogical Publishing Company, Inc. in 1975. And under that is a description which doesn't give too much information except that Robert Burns turns Maryland into Maryland from a foray into the early marriage records. So that's what Ancestry has told us. Our goal is to try to come up with a way to give us a citation that matches the QuickSheet. Now, what I did in this recording is in the description, I've put a link to the QuickSheet that I'm referring to. So a little bit more about the QuickSheet is citing Ancestry.com's databases and images. Well, we got an image on this one. And what we want on the QuickSheet is the full reference node, because that's what we can, the information we can present from within Family Tree Maker. The other options that are on the QuickSheet we can't pull directly out of Family Tree Maker, but the full reference node in the QuickSheet and the full reference node in Family Tree Maker is where our goal is. In this case, it's a book. It's a book that is presented to us in images, and it was created by Ancestry.com, and the citation for the information about the QuickSheet is on the screen now. And like I said, I put a link to that QuickSheet in the description of this recording. So we're going to look at the basic templates from the QuickSheet, which is on the front side of on page 1 of the QuickSheet. And it's important that we understand the elements that make up a full first reference note. The author or creator, followed by the item title, followed by the type. Is it a digital image? Is it a database? The website title in italics, the URL at the website level. That's not the link that will take you directly to the record itself, but in this case, it'll be Ancestry.com. And the date, the access date. When did you access this record? And under that, or in addition to that, there's a specific item of interest. In other words, how can I find that? How can you find that record I found? So you have to give some specific information, item of interest, and a credit line or the source of the source. Ancestry's given it to me, but where did Ancestry get it from? In the source information, and I'm going to put this in color so that you can see that source information screen that I showed you earlier from Ancestry. I want to break that apart. Ancestry.com is the company or the website that I got it from. Ancestry.com's database title, and I have that in green. Database online, which I believe is incorrect. For this, it should include the word digital image somehow, but that's what came from Ancestry. The publisher location is Provo, which we'll see in a second, and the publisher is Ancestry.com operations, and the year that it was published. Now, some of that information we will not see in the citation, but we need to enter it in the database. And here is the data that we got from Ancestry.com in the source information part of the screen that I showed you earlier. Now, just below that was the original data. Where did Ancestry get it from? Who was the compiler? What was the title of the compiler's database or book, whatever it was? What is its title? The publisher's location and who the publisher was and the date. In this specific example, it's Robert Barnes, who was the compiler, and the book was called Maryland Marriages. It was published in Baltimore by the Genealogical Publishing Company, Inc. in 1975. So that's the information broken apart, broken out, because we're going to use different pieces of that when we craft the citation. Now, back to that screen that I opened up with the information from Ancestry. This is the transcription that Ancestry provided to us. And I will point out again the marriage county in the Society of Friends. I don't understand that yet. Hopefully we will before we're done. But that is the transcription. This is what Ancestry want us to think is on that record. So I'm now going to go to the image, and there is the image of the record that was presented to us. Now, I'm going to make a note here that the bottom part of that screen, not in the red, but it says image 212 of 244. So when I looked at that record, there was 244 images in that database, and I am looking at image 212. In the red box on the right, it says 4SF 255. What the heck does that mean? So I need to look near the front of the book or at the front of the book if I can figure out more what I am seeing here. And sure enough, I find that the font on image 8 of 255. Now, this is why I track the image numbers. So if I have to come back to this information, that I know what the image number is. If I find this, I can go back to image 212. So that's why I record it. What this says is that the information that was in this, the Maryland Historical Society and the Maryland, the MR stands for, or HR stands for Hall of Records. So in the Maryland Historical Society, Hall of Records in Annapolis is where the sources came from. So this is a book that's referring to another source. Now, behind the image 8 of 244, you can't see it, but it says Anne Arundel County. There's a hint there about the county called Society of Friends. So the book itself is laid out by county. Now, I'm going to go a couple of pages further back later in the book to see if I can find out what that 4SF means. And I do. And it says Society of Friends. So up until this time, all of the separation was done by county name. And now here's a series of records by the Society of Friends. So that's why the county name says Society of Friends. I can't explain it. I'm just reporting what I saw. But what this says is that 4SF is the gunpowder monthly meeting that's in Maryland. And I know where that is. There's a river, and I've not been to the meeting, but I know where this is. So that is the monthly meeting where the records that Mr. Barnes found, I know it's on microfilm at the Maryland Historical Society. So that's what I know. I have the information that I believe I have everything that I need to craft a citation. So I'm going to the Family Tree Maker, in the Sources workspace, and here's what I know. I know what I'm looking at. I'm looking at a digital image of a book, and I know where I got it from. I got it from Ancestry.com. That also says that they got it from someplace else, but where did I get it? I'm looking at a digital image, and I got it from Ancestry.com. So I now need to select or search for the correct template within Family Tree Maker. So I'm going to do a keyword search of IMA. All you need to do for a keyword search is 3 characters, and I am searching for an image. I probably could have searched for digital image, but I just know that I'm going to search for IMA. So here's what the screens look like. There's the screen that I open up when I click New. I clicked New, and this screen popped up, and I clicked, I'm sorry, the first one was Add, and then I clicked New so that I can get a new template, and I will be brought up. This screen will pop up, and I put IMA. The rest of the data on that screen is immaterial because it will change. I just put IMA for image, and I'm presented. There's the IMA at the top, and what happens is that I will be presented with a list, and I have, for this purpose, selected online publication, image copy by title. So I'm going to, the title of the book is Maryland Marriages. So I want that to be in the source group. That's my choice. That has worked for me. And that is what I will use most of the time. Not all the time, but in this case, this is what I'm going to use. Here's what the screen looks like now. You can't read it here, so I will present it to you in a different way. But that source template will be in the top line. It says online publication, image copy by title, and then I filled in the blanks. Now I'm going to fill in the blanks, but I'm going to show you in a different screen. So here's what it looks like. The title is Maryland Marriages. The author's surname is Barnes. The author's forename is Robert. I'm going to leave the next two fields blank because they were not in the book. The publication year was 1975. Remember, this is the book that Ancestry's presented me. But the new format is a digital image. I'm looking at a digital image. I got it from Ancestry.com, and the URL and the year that Ancestry published the database. So there's 2 publications going on here. One is for the original book. The other's when Ancestry.com published it on their website. Now, remember, this is, I need to somehow present the fact that what I'm looking at from Ancestry is citing what Robert Barnes, the book that Robert Barnes published. So what I put in the comments field of that screen is citing :space Barnes, Robert, compiler, :space Maryland Marriages, etc., etc. So I have more details in the citation, but I put it in the comments because I'm probably going to have to use it more than one time. So the reference note so far, if I just stop right there and looked at the reference note for the data that I've shown you so far, will look like Maryland Marriages, the name of the book, the author, when it was published, and it's a digital image found on Ancestry with the URL of Ancestry. We'll fix the rest of it in a bit, but that is what I see in the lower right-hand corner of the citation column. So now I'm going to add in the citation detail field the following information. It's a record for Priscilla, married to John, on page 200. That was in the upper right-hand corner of that page. I didn't show it to you, but it was page 200. So if I in fact have this book on my bookshelf, and on page 200 is this record, but the digital image is digital. It's image 212 of 244. I have that in editor comments brackets, in the square brackets, It's probably not required, but I want to know where I found it exactly when I come back and have to look at it again. After the colon, I add the citing piece. So it's telling me the record that I found, so you can work your way back. Now, what I did added to this was that information that I got from the front of the book where it said the gunpowder monthly meeting, page 255, and that's what the 4SF 255 means. So if in other words, what I'm looking at is a couple generations away from the original document. Robert Barnes got his data from the gunpowder monthly meeting. It was on page 255 of that document in the Hall of Records at the Maryland Historical Society. I want you to be able to go back and find what I looked at, and I'm adding the breadcrumbs back to where the original document is. If I ever get down to Annapolis, which is where the Hall of Records are, I won't have to look. I have the information I need to find that record. So that was the citation detail field in Family Tree Maker. The next field down is the citation text. I do not put a check mark. I remove the check mark by citation text because I use this field for my information. It's not going to go anyplace. It's just for my information. I just say that it's a record for Priscilla Wilson and that I accessed it on 15 December 2016. And what you can't see is there's a space before the colon because I will have to copy and paste that at least once for the full reference note. And I'll show you that here in a second. So the full reference note now looks like this. And this is where I copied that access 15 December 2016. I put it before the close parenthesis after Ancestry.com. So that is the full reference note for this piece of information that I got from Ancestry.com. I'm going to show you the screen. You won't be able to read it, but you'll see that's what the screen looks like. The full reference note is that box at the bottom. I do not put a check mark in the citation text field. I do not put a check mark in the show the URL for the record. Now, I do want that URL, the complete URL, to get me back to the record because the right end of that line, there's a globe, and that globe will take me right back to that record from within Family Tree Maker. So I hope that's helpful. This is, I believe that I will probably be doing another one when I find another record of a digital image that's not part of a book. But this was a digital image of a page out of a book. And that is how I selected the template for that, to cite that source, and what I put in, how I crafted my citation. I hope that's helpful. I know it's complicated and it takes a lot of playing around to get it to work, but that's as close as I can get it. I may review it again because there's something that's not quite right, I think, but I think I also have options in how it displayed. But I believe that somebody looking at that citation will be able to find the record that I found. Thank you and have a great day.